Hi, thank you so much for coming. I'm MaryLeigh. It's really nice to meet you. Before I get started telling you all the details about my senior project, I'd like to show you a little video that I've put together to tell you a little bit about myself and why I chose the topic I did for my senior project. Hi, my name is MaryLeigh Williams. I'm a senior at Woodstock High School. I'm 18 years old. Next year I'm planning to be a freshman at the University of North Georgia to be a nursing student to get my BSN. My main interest is to become a labor and delivery nurse, and this all really stems from when I was really little, watching a video in the labor and delivery room. My mom, after she had me, and the nurse was just joking and laughing and putting everyone in a good mood, even though it was a very stressful time. I chose to do my research topic on the co-sleeping debate, which is the debate. Basically, one side of the argument is that you should sleep with your infant after they are born, and the other side of the argument is that you should sleep in a separate bed than your infant for safety reasons. And I agree with that based on my research. It all pointed to the fact that sleeping in a separate bed from your child is a lot safer, and that relates to my nursing career because I will be hopefully delivering babies, and I'll be needing to give these important pieces of advice to new mothers. Okay, so before I get started with my product, I'm going to go ahead and just introduce you to the person who made it all possible, my facilitator, Emily. Emily goes to my church, so I thought it would be very easy to meet with her and set dates for us to sign important documents and things like that. But I got a really big wake-up call to the scheduling of nurses because, as I learned, nurses do not have a very flexible schedule. They're the ones that have to be flexible. So if they get called in the work, they just have to be there. So there were a lot of days that Emily and I were planning on meeting together, though it just didn't happen. So the way I overcame that was I kept a little binder in my car filled with important documents and information and pens and pencils and things that I could write down any of the information that Emily gave me and just kept it in my car. So if we met together, it was great. If we didn't, that was fine too because I was just always prepared in my car for that. So here's a picture of Emily and I, and she's signing my final form after this, but this is when I was showing her my final product, which it took a lot to get here. Actually, on our very first meeting, Emily and I were just sitting there trying to figure out what to do, and I told her that I wanted to do something that would not only help me in nursing school as I go through and in my career as a nurse, but also that will help mothers, young mothers who are about to have their babies and they're a little anxious about it. So we came up with the idea that we would do a magazine that walks young mothers or new expectant mothers through the process of labor from the moment you go into labor to the moment you leave the hospital. So I'll go ahead and pass out this magazine for you to look at, and you can just follow along as we go. So first off, in order to create my product, I went ahead and did all my research because I had no idea how I was going to make this magazine. All the research came first because I was still trying to figure out the graphics, what it was supposed to look like. I really know nothing about that, so it was a big learning stretch for me, but I think it turned out really well after I enlisted the help of a friend of my mom's who is really good with graphic design, and she does a lot of this for teachers, paid teachers, actually for a living. So she came over and helped me for a day. We took about 3 hours, and we just went into PowerPoint, and I had all my information typed up already, and then she showed me how to download fonts, how to make it look visually appealing. It's going to take a little while to load, but okay, here it is. So I started out by doing baby colors because she told me that would be a little bit more relaxing for the mothers if they're looking at it, like say flipping through it in the car on the way to the hospital, at a doctor's visit, or anything like that. So I did pink and blue. I think it looks pretty relaxing, and as I scroll down, it's going to keep loading. But I included some pictures of babies that her friend has actually donated to me, which is really great. Because I was really struggling with trying to find pictures of babies that I would actually be allowed to put in a magazine that could hopefully one day go to hospital waiting rooms or things like that. So here's my cover photo, if it'll load. Okay, well, anyways. So for some of my favorite parts of this are actually the parts that are not information. I love the information parts because that was what I spent the most time on, but I also have little parts such as the push playlist, which I think is on page 3. And the push playlist has different songs on it that you can use actually when you're pushing in the delivery room. So I thought that was really funny and just a nice way to lighten the mood. So my playlist it should load on here, but y'all actually have a copy of it back there. Has, let me just grab this so I can show you. It has a little list of songs that you could choose from, or that the mothers could pick out their own songs. In my product, there is actually a notes section, so I was thinking that the women that wanted to do their own push playlist could use one of these pages to plan that out, or if they just went to the doctor's office for a visit, they could also do that as well and just put the doctor's notes on there. So, let's see, maybe this is loaded already. Okay, yeah, so I have my table of contents on here. So I'm just going to walk you through a little bit of what this includes. It has a hospital bag checklist, which is on the first page, because a lot of women, months before actually they go into labor, they have their bag packed, because you just never know what's going to happen. Ideas for your push playlist, which I just showed you. The real life truths from the delivery room is actually one of my favorite parts also. I did a Facebook post, and I asked all of my friends who are mothers or fathers to send me their experiences from the delivery room and tell me how that went and everything. Some of them were actually really funny. One of them involved my preacher getting mad at the nurse for not letting her eat while she was in labor, which you're not supposed to do anyway. But let's see. All right, I did a little note to the reader to make it a bit more personal. And let's see. Okay. So, starting off, this is my first page of information. It talks about preparation, and this is where the hospital bag checklist comes in. Try to make it look like it was on a little sheet of paper, so it could be something the moms could just take a picture of or cut out or use for their own personal hospital bags. This is the very first page, so it's knowing the signs of labor, and y'all can just follow along with me on your book. Alright, here's my push playlist page with all of these song suggestions. And then how do I know my water broke? This is something that is a really big deal to young mothers, because they hear all these stories on the movies about people's water breaking and it being this huge messy scene with fluids everywhere, but in reality that doesn't happen a lot of the time. A lot of women don't even know that they're going into labor until something's just a little off and they get into the hospital and they're like, oh, I'm having a baby now. So this was really eye-opening to me, that will help me in the future as well. So, which was the same with a lot of this project. A lot of it was things that I'm going to need to know. So it really, for my future, it really locked in place that I do want to be a labor and delivery nurse, and that now I feel a little bit more confident going into nursing school and knowing a little bit more about the process to become a labor and delivery nurse, but also what goes on in the labor and delivery room. So I believe that is about it with my product. And so if anyone has any questions.
No.
Okay, I think that'll be it. Thank you so much for coming.